I used to think I was just a strict father. You know, the kind that raises strong kids, not soft ones. I didn't hit, I didn't drink. I provided, protected, did my job, but I yelled a lot, and I called it discipline. I called it being a man. Now my son doesn't talk to me, not a word in 5 years, and I finally understand why. This isn't a video about regret, though there's plenty of that. It's about the cost of silence, the damage of unspoken fear, and what it takes to learn a different kind of strength, the kind that doesn't come from raising your voice. I believed in order, respect, doing things right. I thought it was my job to prepare my son for a tough world. That meant no whining, no excuses, no softness. I thought if I pushed him hard, he'd grow strong. I wasn't trying to hurt him. I thought I was doing what good fathers do. I figured discipline was love, that if I showed him how to be tough now, he'd thank me later. And when he didn't, when he pulled away, I told myself he just didn't get it yet, that he'd come around. I wore that story like armor. It kept me from seeing the cracks, from admitting maybe I wasn't the kind of father I thought I was. 20 years in the service teaches you a few things: control, obedience, staying sharp. I brought that home with me. At the time, I didn't see it as rigid. I saw it as structure. Everything had a reason, a rule, a consequence. I kept a clean house, a fixed schedule, a tight ship. I believed that gave my family safety, stability. But what I called structure, my son experienced as pressure. What I thought was teaching him discipline felt like walking on eggshells to him. And honestly, I didn't know there was another way. That's how far gone I was. I couldn't even recognize the difference between leadership and fear. I never told my son I was proud of him. Not once, not because I wasn't. I just thought he knew. Or worse, that saying it would make him lazy. I didn't say, "I love you," either. Not because I didn't feel it. I just didn't know how. The words caught in my throat every time. I'd pat his shoulder and think that was enough. Or I'd ask about his grades and call it caring. I convinced myself that actions spoke louder. But silence has its own weight. A child can't read your mind. All they hear is what you don't say. And what I didn't say built a wall, brick by brick, year after year. Looking back, I realize I spent most of my adult life afraid of failing as a dad, afraid of looking weak. But I never said that out loud. Instead, I got angry. That was the only language I knew. It felt safer. Anger gave me control, or at least the illusion of it. I could bark orders, raise my voice, walk away, and no one could see what was really happening under the surface. I was scared. Scared of losing the people I loved, scared of not being enough. I didn't hit, I didn't drink, but I carried that fear like a clenched fist, always ready to swing. He was a quiet kid, sensitive, smart. When he was little, he clung to me. By the time he was a teenager, he couldn't stand being in the same room. I blamed him, said he was ungrateful, dramatic. I couldn't see that he was retreating from me. I'd look at him and feel judged, like he saw through all my bluster and didn't respect me for it. But now I understand. He wasn't rejecting me. He was protecting himself. My silence, my anger, my tough love. It taught him that opening up wasn't safe, that love had rules, that he had to earn it. And the more he pulled away, the louder I got. He stopped sharing things, started keeping his door closed. I'd ask, "What's going on with you?" And he'd shrug. I took that as disrespect. I raised my voice, slammed doors, gave lectures, all the things I thought would get through to him, only pushed him further away. What I saw as discipline, he experienced as distance. He stopped asking me for help. He started going to friends, to teachers, to anyone but me. And every time he did, I doubled down. I thought I could still fix it by being firm. But I wasn't hearing him. I wasn't seeing him. I only saw what I wanted him to be, not who he actually was. And by the time I realized that, the damage was done. I still remember the last real fight we had. He was 20. I don't even remember what started it. Probably something small. A comment about his future, or maybe his tone. I shouted. He shouted back, which he never did before. His voice cracked, but he didn't back down. And then he said it. "I'm done with you. I don't care what happens to you." And walked out. That moment felt like a punch to the chest, but I didn't chase him. I stood there, arms crossed, trying to convince myself I didn't care either, that he needed to learn respect. But the truth was, I was stunned, and under all that anger, I was heartbroken. I thought he'd come back, a few weeks, a few months, but he didn't. I reached out, once, maybe twice, just enough to say I tried, not enough to really mean it. Deep down, I was still angry, at him, at myself, at how fast it all crumbled, and I didn't want to look weak. I told myself he'd come around, that he'd realize I was right. But months turned to years. Holidays passed with no calls, birthdays too. The silence settled in like dust on old furniture. You stop noticing it after a while, but every now and then it hits you like a wave, how quiet it all got. I told myself, he's the one who left, that if he wants to talk, he can call. I convinced myself I was being reasonable, that I wasn't going to beg. But the truth is, I was scared. Scared that he'd still be angry. Scared that I wouldn't know what to say. I clung to pride like it was armor, but it didn't protect me. It just isolated me. Shame is funny like that. It wears the mask of strength, but underneath, it's just fear. I'd look at his old photos and feel this tightness in my chest, but I'd push it down, because to admit I was wrong meant I had to be someone different, and I didn't know how. Around the same time, my marriage ended too. My wife said she couldn't take the coldness anymore, said she'd been asking for years, asking me to talk, to feel, to open up. I didn't know how. I always thought being solid meant being silent, that showing emotion meant you'd lost control. But looking back, she wasn't asking for weakness. She was asking for connection, and I couldn't give it. I'd nod, grunt, go to work, come home, do my chores. But I wasn't present. Not really. She told me she felt like she was living with a stone, and I didn't fight her on it, because deep down, I knew she was right. It wasn't a big dramatic moment. No yelling, no slammed doors, just a quiet evening. I was sitting alone at the kitchen table, lights off in the other rooms, and it hit me. No one was coming home. Not my wife, not my son, just me, and all the rules I'd built my life around. I looked around that clean, organized house and realized it didn't feel like home anymore. It felt like a bunker, a place built to keep people out, not bring them closer. And for the first time, I couldn't pretend it was anyone else's fault. My way had kept me safe, sure, but it had also kept me alone. I started letting the memories in, not the good ones, the hard ones, the arguments, the looks my son gave me when I raised my voice, the silence that followed after. I remembered how I stood in doorways, arms crossed, waiting for him to back down, how I looked at him like he was a problem to solve, not a person to understand. And in that stillness, I saw the truth. I hadn't protected him. I'd intimidated him. I didn't teach him strength. I taught him to flinch. And that realization, it didn't come all at once. It crept in slowly, painfully. But once I saw it, I couldn't unsee it. That's when I understood it. My anger wasn't strength. It was fear in disguise. I wasn't in control. I was terrified, afraid of failing, afraid of being seen as soft, afraid of not being enough. And instead of saying any of that, I snapped. I barked orders, I shut down conversations, I built walls, because it was easier to act tough than to admit I didn't know what I was doing. Anger gave me something to hold on to. But underneath it all, I was just a man who didn't know how to say, I'm scared. And I see now that real strength, the kind that heals, doesn't come from control. It comes from honesty. I didn't know how to fix things, so I just started small. I bought a notebook, sat down at the table, and started writing to him. Letters I never sent, just trying to say what I hadn't before. I'm sorry. You didn't deserve that. I was scared. Some days the words came fast. Other days I just stared at the page, not knowing where to begin. Sometimes I cried. Sometimes I just sat there, quiet, with a pen in my hand and a heart full of regret. It didn't feel like progress. It felt like mourning. But it was something, a start. My way of learning to speak differently, one page at a time. A friend, an old buddy from the service, suggested therapy. I laughed, said that wasn't for guys like us. But I went. Didn't say much the first few sessions, just sat there, arms folded, waiting for it to feel less strange. Over time, I started to talk about my dad, the military, my son, all the things I never said out loud. Week after week, I unpacked it. The fear, the silence, the weight of being the strong one. I didn't go to fix the past. I went because I was tired of carrying it. And in that room, for the first time, I started to feel something I hadn't in a long time. Human. I used to think being strong meant never breaking, standing tall no matter what, holding the line. But now I think real strength is letting yourself break and not hiding from it. It's sitting in the mess and not rushing to fix it. It's saying, I was wrong, even if your voice shakes. It's picking up the phone after years of silence, knowing you might not get an answer. Strength isn't about being untouched. It's about being honest, about showing up, soft and unsure, and doing it anyway. I spent years mistaking control for courage, but the hardest thing I've ever done, and the bravest, is learning to speak with my heart. Last year I called my son, left a voicemail. It wasn't long, just a quiet message. I miss you. I'm sorry. I'm here. My hand was shaking when I hit send. He didn't call back, not yet, but I didn't expect a miracle. I just wanted to break the silence. I planned to keep trying, not to erase what happened. I can't do that, but to show that I've changed, that I'm still learning, that he doesn't have to carry it all alone. Reaching out isn't about getting a clean ending. Sometimes it's just about making room for something different, even if it's slow, even if it hurts. If he were sitting across from me right now, I wouldn't try to explain myself. I wouldn't tell him how hard it was for me or what I meant by all those rules. I'd tell him the truth. He didn't deserve to grow up in fear. I'd tell him I see that now, that it wasn't love the way I gave it. It was fear, fear dressed up like structure, control pretending to be care. I'd tell him I wish I had been braver, not louder, that I wish I had listened more and spoken less, and that if he ever wants to talk, even just once, I'll be here. Not to fix it, just to listen. If you're listening to this, and some part of it sounds like your story, don't wait. Don't wait until the silence becomes its own kind of prison. Don't wait until your kids are strangers. It's not weakness to say, I'm sorry. It's not weakness to cry or to admit you didn't know better. It's survival. It's love. I know what it's like to hold it all in, to think you're being strong by staying quiet. But that silence eats away at everything. You don't have to be perfect. Just be willing. Willing to speak, willing to see, willing to change. Healing isn't a moment. It's a long road. There's no finish line, no sudden peace. Some days I feel like I'm moving forward. Other days I feel like I'm right back where I started. But I keep walking, I keep writing the letters, I keep showing up to therapy, I keep making the calls, even when no one answers, because that's what I can do now. I can't go back and raise him differently, but I can become someone different today. That's the quiet work, the real work. And maybe, just maybe, that work will lead us somewhere better, even if it takes the rest of my life. Anger isn't strength. It's just fear in disguise. I know that now, and I'd give anything to go back and say it before it was too late. If this story spoke to something in you, maybe something you've never said out loud, I hope you'll stick around. Subscribe if you want more stories like this, and leave a comment if you've been on either side of that silence. What finally made you change? Or what do you wish someone had said to you sooner? And if you've ever felt like you built a whole life but left the people behind, my last video might resonate. It's about Jerry, another man learning, late in life, that love isn't built with your hands. It's built with presence. Watch that next.